Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video. Today I want to talk about a very mysterious character, one of the biggest characters and one that we actually know the least of, someone that multiple theories have been shown and have been talked about throughout the years since he was first even talked about and even introduced, and that is Vegapunk. I want to basically cover all bases in this video: who I think he is, the current state of him, and whether or not he is a free spirit in the hands of the government, and whether or not I think he is going to Wano. I may have a very different perspective on it than a lot of people, but before I get into the video, if you could please look in that description and or the pinned comment and join that Discord. We be chilling, we almost at 100 members, so definitely join that. We be talking about everything. I want to kind of start off with talking about who I think he's not because this is one of the most popular theories in the community, and that is Kizaru. I'm 1000% confident that it is not Kizaru, and I know that there has been a good amount of evidence, but I feel like some of it are stretches, and people that say that aren't considering some stuff that basically serves as a huge argument against it. Well, the first thing is placement. How could Kizaru be being an admiral doing his job if he has basically been working on this SSG stuff this whole time? He wanted to go to Wano, but he was working on SSG. That doesn't make much sense to me, and I do think he has a very big connection to Kizaru, but I will say that until later because there are some other points that kind of disprove that these two people are the same people. And another one is the way Kobe kind of spoke about Vegapunk. He basically hyped him up as this really cool dude, and you're telling me that in Marineford him and Kizaru had absolutely no interactions with each other? I do not think there would be any way that these two characters are the same people without this actually being mentioned or brought up. They're literally on the same side. Another point is that Kizaru literally tried to kill them at Sabaody, but if Kizaru is Vegapunk, Vegapunk is the person that programmed Kuma to actually guard the Going Merry. So you're telling me that he tried to kill the Straw Hats and then helped them out? That would actually be a funny twist if this dude just has multiple personalities. But I do want to talk about how I do think they are linked, and if you're going to say they are in some way linked to each other, I think saying this would be a little bit better. So we know that Sentomaru is the science group's kind of guard or security, so we know that Sentomaru is Vegapunk's direct bodyguard, and Sentomaru calls Kizaru uncle. Not literal uncle, I don't think. I think it just means kind of like boss in like slang or whatever. You call somebody uncle if you work for him. That's at least what I have seen through the internet when I was researching. Hey man, it could be that they're actually related, you know what I'm saying? But I doubt it. So that is one very big link. So that is one big link between Kizaru and Vegapunk already. In this same arc that Sentomaru is introduced, there is some interesting dialogue between Kizaru and Drake, a Marine. There is some interesting dialogue pertaining to Vegapunk, Drake, and Kizaru, and the first one is when one of the pacifists actually shoot one of the lasers. Drake mentions that's Kizaru's laser. In addition to Bartholomew Kuma's body, you recreated Kizaru's attack power, Vegapunk. I didn't think the pacifists already come this far. So there's obviously another link between Kizaru and Vegapunk, and right in the next panel, Kizaru says, Rear Admiral Drake, oh, former Rear Admiral, are you here for some recon work on that? Go ahead and fight it. Since you know our internal information, your despair will be much more than that. So this kind of lays the groundwork for two things in my little theory that I think, and I think that Vegapunk kind of worked on the person that was closest to him, and I'm not talking about physically, I'm talking about in terms of relationship. And I think it is possible that Vegapunk could actually be blood related to Kizaru. With the recent revelation of everything going on with Sanji and Queen and how he has talked about this science group, it is not a crazy idea that these people higher up in the science world would actually experiment or use some of the DNA for their experiments of people that they are actually related or close to. Now, this is just a thought of mine, and I by no means am saying that it is 100% facts or I even 100% believe in it, but I just think that it is a way better route than having them actually be the same person, which in hindsight doesn't really make sense at all. Just the way people spoke of them. Drake literally says, oh, you use Kizaru's laser, Vegapunk. It would not make sense to me that they are the same people. We know Kizaru as a kid from the drawings that Oda drew that he looked to be a kind of smart kid, and he had some books on him. He liked to write and everything. It's not very uncommon for people that are related to do have the same interests. These people aren't blood related, but Sabo, Ace, Luffy all had similar interests. They wanted to go out to sail and become a pirate, although, you know, some things got a little choppy, you know what I'm saying? Then we have the brothers that allied with Whitebeard. I think their name was the Calvin brothers or something like that, and they literally just look alike, like they, like, not in facial structure or the way they look, but in actual like appearance and the way they carry themselves. So there's all these examples, and if you have the same mindset as me that they very well could be related in some way, then this could be justification for why Kizaru is kind of, you know, I don't want to say slow, but but in the picture he was drawn as a kid in, he had, you know, books around him and stuff like that. Now that was really just, you know, ideas thrown around. To be honest, if I had to bet on what Oda would do, I do think it would just be him being his own person, not being really related to anybody, because I do think that Vegapunk is indeed being held by the government against his will, and I don't think if Kizaru was his blood brother or anything that he would just stand by, you know what I'm saying? And that brings me up to my next couple points, and it will lead into why I think he is going to be shown in Wano. But firstly, I do want to talk about how I think he's actually being held against his will. And the first point is, it was stated that the people that were in the Mads group actually got sought out by the government to actually, you know, work with them. And we know Vegapunk, that his island that he used to live on didn't have many resources at all. So the fact that he is with the government right now screams to me that they kind of, I don't want to say swindled him, but basically offered resources to experiment on whatever he wanted to in exchange for his services. They had to work for him when they needed him and basically just be like any other person in the government, just work for them. But it is kind of interesting that we just haven't seen him, and we know he covered up for Caesar for a very big accident that happened on Punk Hazard. So I think that is what caused him, and if it didn't cause him, it added on to him actually being held captive in a way and basically not let escape and under 24/7 surveillance. This can kind of be backed up by Sentomaru because he is indeed his bodyguard, but he can also serve as someone that monitors him, someone that has advanced armament haki that we have seen, and it is strong enough to stop whatever these things that he is building may result in if he did decide to try to fight back. But the reason I do think that Vegapunk is going to Wano is a few reasons. So we all know of the link between Kizaru and Vegapunk, and we all know that Kizaru was willing to go to Wano, so that in a way kind of is a really indirect connection between them. But let me go further. Cut to Punk Hazard, we get there and we see a dragon, a western dragon at that, the same kind that Ryuma, a resident of Wano, slayed 400 years ago. He recreated this exact dragon, and it is kind of weird to me that these dragons are actually kind of extinct. We haven't seen any, we haven't even heard really talks of it. So I find it very, very interesting that he recreated such an old creature. Now this is really wild headcanon, but I do think he has been studying some history, and specifically Wano history. That's kind of another link to Wano. And you cut to later in the arc where we see a certain someone has made a certain devil fruit, and it is Momonosuke's devil fruit, which we know now is the same one essentially as Kaido's. Now I am like 99% sure that he was, you know, kind of hired for this job to do that specifically, but this is nonetheless a tie to Wano, and I think that he will want to see his devil fruit in action. And I think this is where Oda will kind of write in the purpose of him going, along with some SSG stuff, because Blackbeard is always on the move, Shanks is always on the move, and SSG just got created, so what better time to try, you know, attempt to test it out on than in Wano. In 1028, we know that there are ships going to Wano per Rob Lucci, and while there are 2 Yonkos in there, and the SSG are created to replace the warlords, who in addition to the whole navy is supposed to bring balance to the 4 Yonkos. I feel like whatever this is going to be a perfect way for Oda to bring Vegapunk into Wano. And something that just popped up in my mind is when Frankie is actually in Baltimore Island, they say that Frankie don't touch that button because it'll self-destruct. And then we get some shots of some Navy officers and it says any damages to Vegapunk's island, you will be punished to the highest order. This is the perfect time for SSG to actually be like, oh, that's that dude that was on Baltimore Island, because there were some Marine soldiers there. Imagine they are there and Frankie actually gets hunted just like Robin is right now in the latest chapter, but for blowing up Vegapunk's blueprints. And I think I basically hit everything. If there is anything I missed, definitely let me know in the comments. Please hit that like button, subscribe, turn on post notifications, go in that pinned comment and or the description and join that Discord. And I love all of you guys, and until next time, peace.